Good afternoon. It is about noontime, and you are tuned to radio818.com. You're also listening to 81A Media.
Yes.
What else have we got here? Florida Keys Real Estate Guys. If you want to stream this program and watch the video as well, now we're on Florida Keys Real Estate Guys,
Right.
Facebook. We are on A1A Media on YouTube and Facebook.
Right.
And, of course, radio818.com.
Right.
It's a plethora.
Exactly.
I hate that word.
Anyway, we're all over the place.
We're all over the place.
In more ways than one, ladies and
Spin
gentlemen.
paint at the state fair. That's our distribution philosophy.
I like that analogy. That's a good one.
It's good. And it goes way back to when me and Dewey used to do news together years ago in Minnesota. Oh, geez. So, moving on.
He's cool today.
We have truly a great program set up for you today. We want to take just a moment before we thank our sponsors to reflect, but to look at what took place this weekend. No wishes for thoughts and prayers here because they're not saving lives anymore. The bottom line, folks, is that we now live in a society where whenever you go into a public place, movie theater, shopping mall, school, hospital, hotel, resort, wherever you go, doesn't matter. Find your exit. Know how to get out. It's not a panic thing.
No.
It's common sense.
Diligence. It's what I tell my wife and kids. No matter where you are,
Absolutely.
Always try to have a plan B that you can look around and say, hey, if whatever, what am I going to do?
Plan A can be scream and run. Plan B is know where the door is.
Absolutely.
Okay? So, and with that, that's all we need to say about that. We are sorry for the pain and loss that those folks are going through.
For sure.
And, hopefully time will assuage their hurt.
Right.
Moving right along. As I said, we have jump up on this one now, Mark.
There we go.
But we do have an incredible show for you today. And of course, if it wasn't for Sunshine Title
make it happen.
Ginny Pinnell and her gals up there at 103, ladies, sorry, because I'm probably going to get punched from the left here if I don't pay attention there. She's nodding.
Yeah, exactly. She's already gone,
knock your ass right out of that chair.
That's for sure.
So, but we sure do appreciate Ginny and her ladies helping us out every Monday with the program. Also, Jim LaPointe is our new lender, local guy, Keys guy, and his rates for the weekend, because the Fed dropped by a quarter of a point.
I know. Isn't that great?
3.125.
Right.
Credit score 680 or above.
Wow, that's
unreal.
Exactly, to be able to get that. The cool thing about him, because I actually sent some folks to him, is he does mobile home loans.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a lot of folks down here who do mobile home loans, and he told me absolutely he can get that done.
Yep.
As for folks that want to get on the water, that's probably the most opportune way at the lowest expense.
Sure, for the least amount of dough, most bang for your buck.
Yeah, I showed one the other day that was $377,000, a double wide.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning. So, you're getting on the water for under $400,000.
I love that stuff, man.
And he does the loans for him. So, great opportunity to get that done.
Again, Jim's current rates are always posted on the radio818.com page. Harry updates them every week.
Yep.
Thank you, Harry. And, his contact information is there. And great guy. He'll hit the ground running for you. We highly recommend you use him. Also, the spot where we are right now.
Yes.
In Heartbreakers Brewery is, I think it's undergoing a facelift soon, but more on that. But every Wednesday night is the Sessions Night, which is the live broadcast of local talent for the most part. Steve Vanini is coming up with his band.
Good guy.
I just don't, and I'm not, pissing ice water on anybody else who plays. Sorry. Just kind of comes out that way sometimes.
You
go. I don't have to add it on the fly anymore, So, but, he's just one of those guys who is a Keys guy, charter fisherman.
For sure.
Died in the wool.
In the wool.
He's just part of the community here. and also an incredible guitarist, great songwriter,
absolutely,
and a good human being.
Well,
So
if you go back through the Florida Keys Real Estate Guys archives, he actually played on one of our shows back when we used to do it at the that one we did in the Key Largo office,
right
if I
after
recall.
Irma, as a matter of fact.
He did a great, nice little set there, so it was a lot of fun. And, of course, you can watch this performance on
live.
The A1A Media live. So great talent that comes through here. Really nice production. It's on Wednesdays.
Wednesday evenings, usually about 7:30, 8 o'clock, somewhere in there. And, it come on down and have a beer. Let's face it.
That's the best way to see it.
Choice number 2 is sit at home, drink a beer, and, watch it on your computer or your smart TV.
Yes.
So, good stuff. So, last but not least, the crime novels, the Jake Sullivan crime novels, authored by Chip Bell. Great guy, good stuff, and it's available also on the radioa1a.com page. Look for the guy under the palm tree with a gun and click on it.
Perfect summer reading.
It is, yeah. It's great beach reading.
Exactly. You want to talk about some stuff to read.
Blow through in a couple hours.
Exactly.
And,
fun read.
Easy to get behind Jake. He's a good guy. You got to love that kind of stuff. Again, for the third time, we do have a remarkable program for you today.
Same stuff.
Marlene Weeks can be described in 100 different ways, but no, I mean, they're just they're over the years that I have been here, which in the Keys now is approaching 19 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Your name pops up. It just immediately, boom, right to the surface. She knows where to get this. She knows how to do that. She's part of that, and Marlene Weeks is always there.
The resource.
No, that's a fact. I mean, you are, in one of the truest, most wonderful senses, a community activist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Your friends, your neighbors, the people in your neighborhood are, to me, obviously at the top of your list, and you're always looking out for your turf.
Right.
It's funny you should say that, because I wrote something down when I started to. Is it okay to say this?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I wrote this down before I headed down this journey, and I highlighted it. And it's every time I open this, I read it to remind me of why I'm doing this.
Good for you.
Why.
Let's
Good
hear it.
And it says, "Have faith that a just cause is worthy of promoting."
Amen.
Good
And
words.
so it was very important to me at this point, and that's kind of my compass.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's how I started this 2 weeks ago.
I like that a bunch.
All right.
I mean, that's definitely a good one. Now, the bottom line is we have some land acquisition issues.
Questionable.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But, we really want to talk about green space.
Yes. Yeah.
Because, green space is vitally important
Absolutely.
to the Florida Keys. I mean, it's just huge.
Absolutely.
What is green space?
Well, in this context, the green space is specific to Key Largo Community Park.
Okay.
And that's the park, if you guys are familiar with Key Largo, it's the park inside Port Largo, the
Right.
subdivision, right at the light where the Walgreens is.
Yep.
And so it's kind of like a conversation that starts with this and kind of evolves to other things.
Yeah.
And we can lightly touch on that.
Which is
but
so
the
much
priority,
like-
the priority is definitely the green space.
Right.
And, here's my take on this, and I think that what's probably bothering me the most is the lack of transparency about these things that are going to affect our community.
Well, in Florida, we have this thing called the Sunshine Law,
Yes.
which is no two politicians or no two individuals, the one being a politician, an elected official, can discuss any form of business
Right.
in anywhere but the daylight, the
Sure.
light of day. It's
Sure.
all got to be out there.
Sure.
Right.
And I think that what I've discovered, and this was something that I wasn't even planning on venturing out in, it was just something that, a phone call led to a meeting that led to another meeting, and now here I am. And basically, as far as that lack of transparency,
Right.
I think that especially, and I said this, down in Marathon at the BOCC meeting on July 17th, especially with the lack of transparency from the national level down.
Right.
In a small town like this, all of our commissioners, all of our staff should strive to be as transparent as possible.
Sure.
You can't sneeze in Key Largo without US saying Gazante.
Right.
You're going to find out.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And you know what? And it's, give us more credit than that. I think that we're reasonable people.
The lack of transparency definitely throws that whole veil of you're too stupid to understand this.
And water it down to our level. And I think that's I think there's a reason that it's not transparent. It's because they understand that possibly the community might not want that, which is why I'm here. Okay, I really think that people don't want what's about to happen. And because I think they think that, I think that they've kind of not been very vocal about, shining light on it.
Sure.
Right.
So here's what's going on for you guys that are out there. On July 15th, there was a Parks and Rec meeting in Key Largo. I didn't think that I needed to be at that meeting. We were not on the agenda.
All right. Now you know better, don't you?
Yes.
Now you do.
And Key Largo Community Park was not on that agenda, and it somehow was the first item as an add-on to the agenda, and specifically addressing the fact that they were going to bring in affordable housing units to the out parcel in front of the park. And in that conversation, which had nothing really to do with Parks and Rec, but in that conversation, Kevin Wilson, who's an assistant county administrator, basically said, and we've got 6 pickleball courts going in because there's a big movement. I didn't even know what the heck pickleball.
This is a big chunk of turf that we're talking about. Is part of Key Largo Park, but also a very large chunk of real estate right across the street from the park that's involved in this as well.
Yes, there's 2 components to this. And basically what happened is that at that Parks and Rec, there's been a vocal movement from a large group of pickleball people. I didn't even know what the heck the sport was, and now I'm learning more and more about it. But it's kind of like tennis for seniors.
Exactly. Well, but basically, that's one of the reasons it's become real popular. But it takes to have the court. It takes. Think of tennis courts. It takes a lot of real estate.
It is.
It's a big chunk of land.
And and through the last 2 weeks, I've uncovered that each pickleball court measures roughly anywhere from 22 by 44 feet, which is almost 900 square feet each court. And they're talking about 6 of them. Now, what's happened is that in the last
6,000 square feet.
It'll probably be more than that because they're based on a conversation that I had with the project manager in charge of this last week. They basically said that the county's possibly looking at it as a competition court so that they can generate revenue. They can and he mentioned doing bleachers, lighting, a shade structure, all of those things that are being looked at. Now, he did say that there are ways from shovel on the ground. And he did say that they have to go through all of these requirements. Like apparently Parks and Rec was ready to pour asphalt, according to him. And then they basically said, no, you can't do that because you've got to go through all these processes of permitting and so on. Which, thank God, those processes exist because it buys us time to be able to deal with this. And so if, from a project management perspective, if they start looking at one project that's going to cost so much in time and money, then they look at how to make the best of that situation, which is where the bleachers, the shade structure, and the lighting comes in. And they even mentioned lighting up the tennis courts. Here's the problem with that. I've been involved vocally from a community activist, like you want to call me, position since 1993. I believe it was.
A couple of years.
I found even stuff where I was at those meetings. When the county, this subdivision that we're talking about, just for all of you guys out there, this was a subdivision that was platted back in 1960. It's known
Port
as
Largo.
It's Port Largo. It's known as Plat Book 5 at page 3. This tract of the park, as well as the one across the street, they were bought in 2 parts. The original park was bought in 1999, and that was part of a land trust agreement through the Florida Communities Trust. I've uncovered all of this in the last couple of weeks. That money it's tied to conservation and open space. And now we're talking about adding over 6,000 square feet possibly of impervious surface in an area that
also
already
known
is
as asphalt.
It's an area that there's only 2 open spaces according even to the project manager at this park for this. The that area is open and floods.
Yeah.
And it's open for a reason. So here's the deal. Back when that park was first purchased and the community was giving input, just so you all know a little bit of history of that parcel.
Bring it on.
Please tell
Bring
us.
it on.
Stu Mar owned this property through his Coconut Grove Bank. Stu
Right.
Mar that just passed away in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And basically what happened is he sold it, and because they were an existing subdivision and they were buying this property for a park purposes, there was a lot of going back and forth between the community and the planners and all of that,
Right.
and a lot of the community. But two parts to the community. There was the part that I belonged to, which was, the neighborhood, protecting the fact that you're coming into an existing neighborhood,
Right.
and making sure that it was a park for all ages. And that was something that I was very passionate about.
Right.
There was another movement. Back then, the Upper Keys Little League Association, or UKAA,
Yeah.
back then was very vocal.
Marilyn Byer was part of that.
Yeah,
Is that
and
right?
but
Yeah.
this was the little leaguers like baseball. They
Oh,
were
yeah,
major,
absolutely.
major supporters of wanting to. The original designs to this
Baseball
park.
diamonds.
They were six. I think it was six baseball diamonds
Right.
with these 40 or 50-foot lights. I mean, it was like
Oh yeah, this
a
is going
regular.
to be
Heavy.
a real baseball
Yeah.
field.
Yeah, and I
absolutely.
remember like it was yesterday going to this meeting, and it was all my friends, all their children, people that I loved in this community, and I was a lone voice that said, I don't think this is the right thing for this park.
Yeah. Right.
I understand you guys want this really bad. I understand that you need something for the kids, but I don't think this park with all this acreage needs only to be about this. And I remember saying at that point, I had a little 3-year-old at home, almost 2.5.
Oh, boy.
And I had my mother-in-law. I said, this park needs to be a park for all ages.
Right.
It needs to be for my 2.5 at home
Right.
to my 85-year-old mother-in-law that lives at home. It
Right.
can't just be about baseball.
Well,
Sure.
community park means
Community.
park.
Yes, that's what
and,
community.
and little by little, I mean, it was some hard times.
Oh, yeah.
I had a lot of people not like the position I took.
Sure.
But now, years later, it was so worth it because we have a beautiful park.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And it's you when you sit out there and you look how many people from all different walks of life, they're walking, they're exercising, the kids are running around in this
Right.
green
My
space.
gal and I, it got too hot for us for a
Sure.
little bit, but we've been going over to Key Largo Park to walk
Right.
Yeah.
5-6 nights a week for
Right.
probably almost a year now.
Now, so when you walk the bike path, not the bike path, the walking path inside, just to be to put everybody in perspective.
Right.
We were told at this Parks and Rec meeting that it was going in the southeast corner
Yeah. Okay.
of Atlantic and St. Croix, which
Right.
is in the middle of the exercise path where the chin-up bars and
Yeah.
all
Yep,
of that
yeah,
area.
yep.
That green space. What I'm here to keep reminding the county is that space is green for a reason. When back in the 90s, when this park was being designed, that was a compromise between the neighborhood and the county.
Right.
The
Okay.
county was intruding into an existing neighborhood, and the idea behind that is you need to respect that there is people that live on Atlantic and on Caribbean. And so they put all of the high density, high traffic things on the commercial side. They put it on Laguna,
Right.
near the hotels and the
Sure.
restaurants,
Right.
and on St. Croix. And basically what happened is that they went ahead and they left it green as a buffer, just similar to
Well,
what Cameron Bay Club
Right.
is advocating for Rouse Marina right now.
Yeah.
They're advocating to not put stuff right up against to where their neighborhood is,
Sure.
Right.
because that's going to be a problem as far as them and that mix.
Okay, let me take this back
Sure.
for a moment here.
Sure.
That is also an area that anybody who lives in Port Largo, anybody who uses that park knows that corner of the park, basically, you're talking about right over here, this area floods.
Exactly.
Every
exactly.
time it rains,
Exactly.
it floods.
Hardcore.
And
Yes,
if you change
hardcore.
it from the limited green space that it is now to something that's paved,
Yep.
you will have lake
Yes, you will.
community park. Largo.
Yes, and
You know.
and here's the other part of this that is really upsetting, is in the process of all of this, again, in my opinion, lack of transparency. They abandoned, nobody really knows this, they abandoned 183 feet of St. Croix.
All right.
St.
Hold on
Croix,
a second. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
You know what? We've got to take
Yes.
a break. We're
Sure.
going to pay some bills. But, no, Marlene, we've got
Yeah,
lots
lots
to
to
talk
cover.
about
Yeah.
here, and we're going to
Yeah.
get to it. So,
Perfect.
folks, please stay with us. You are watching and listening, hopefully.
And everyone?
Yeah, all of the above.
All
All
the
of your
senses.
senses are livened up. To the Florida Keys real estate guys, we are talking about green space, and we are talking with Marlene Weeks, Key Largo activist, mom, housewife, boy,
The works.
Business owner.
business owner.
The works.
Got it all going on. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Please like us
Stay
on
tuned.
Facebook. We'll be right back.
If I had my way, I'd sit.
Jake Sullivan lies near death in a coma. His best friend Mike drives the hunt for the man who leads a criminal enterprise that could poison paradise with a chemical weapon. There's no safe harbor to be had here. Cuban Crime of Passion is the latest in the Jake Sullivan series from author Chip Bell. Available now, Cuban Crime of Passion. Check out RadioA1A.com. Click on the guy under the palm tree with the gun.
Cartel in Key West, corrupt politicians.
Hello, this is Mykael Marinelli of American Caribbean Real Estate with your Real Estate Comp featured property. Today, spotlighting 125 Venetian Drive in Islamorada. Here, you can enjoy the phenomenal Islamorada lifestyle in this just-built waterfront home. Everything's new. 3 bedrooms upstairs and a separate guest suite downstairs. Exceptional features include stunning granite kitchen, veranda, sumptuous master bath, and a homeowner's park with its rare sandy beach. This is your bucket list opportunity. For more information on this home and other power buys, contact me at 305-439-7730 and visit my award-winning Florida Keys lifestyle blog at therealestatecomp.com.
The Florida Keys is a chain of islands known for its crystal blue waters, famous for sports fishing, world-class diving, and its laid-back atmosphere. Nestled between the Everglades National Park and the National Marine Sanctuary, the Keys are home to a precious and rare ecosystem found nowhere else. Here you will also find world-class dining featuring fresh from the dock seafood, as well as other chef-prepared culinary favorites. The Florida Keys has the feel of a quaint seaside village with a laid-back vibe, taking you worlds away from everyday cares. Stunning coastal-inspired homes line the shores of the islands, offering spectacular sunset views. Whether you start your day taking in the sunrise on your oceanfront veranda or heading out on the water for an adventure, the Keys has something to offer everyone. American Caribbean Real Estate, your Christie's International Real Estate Brokerage, knows that our island lifestyle is just as important as the home, and we are prepared to match you to the right property to fit your lifestyle. As the local Christie's International Real Estate affiliate, we have the powerful backing of the network, including 1,300 offices worldwide, and the only real estate company owned by a premier auction house. This, added to our local market expertise, makes American Caribbean Real Estate the right agency to assist you in finding your piece of paradise in the Florida Keys.
You've been coming to the Keys for a while, and you rent a nice place, but the rents keep going up. You know it's time to consider buying a home in the Keys. First thing, find out how much home you can afford. Time to talk to Jim. Jim LaPointe is your new Keys local lender. Easy qualifying, lowest rates, FHA, VA, conventional. Time to talk to Jim. Log on to RadioA18.com. Click on interest rates. Rates change often, so check them daily. Time to talk to Jim.
This is your Key West Honorary Mayor Gonzo Mays, and you're listening to Radio A1A, music for the road to paradise. So damn the carnations, full speed ahead.
I gotta get that
Yes,
peak.
there you go.
Bring it down and under so we can talk.
We have a studio audience today.
Yeah, we do. Holy cow, the pressure is on.
Yes. Thanks for bringing the crew today.
Welcome
problem.
back to the Florida Keys Real Estate Guys live on RadioA1A.com, A1A Media, and YouTube and Facebook. And we hope you're enjoying the show so far. We are talking with Marlene Weeks from Key Largo. Marlene is a business owner, an activist, and good conscience and a good neighbor. Across the board. So I know you're going, God, will you shut up, Mark?
We got stuff to talk about.
But the bottom line is this. We are through her deeds and actions, we're finding out about a land deal in Florida.
Oh, boy. There's stories about that. Isn't
Yeah,
there?
really. Holy cow.
Hey, I can sell you some land in Key
Yeah.
Largo.
I got some land in Florida for
Pretty
you.
It
much.
stays dry except for when it rains.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
And let's go back because we were talking about transparency. But
Yes.
apparently, there might be a little lack of that.
You think?
Yeah.
But how did you find out about this transaction?
And I'm so appreciative of you asking that because I think that's key in this conversation.
sure.
Yeah, me
A lot of
too.
work.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. When we go back to July 15th, and I get a phone call basically saying you should attend this Parks and Rec meeting because something's going on that has to do with the park and that subdivision of Port Largo.
Yeah.
First thing I do is basically go on the BOCC website and look
Right.
at the Parks and Rec agenda. Nowhere on the agenda is anything about Key Largo Park, anything
Nothing
about
there.
Key Largo
Right.
Park.
Nothing there.
And nothing specific about pickleball courts or affordable housing. Yeah, I was not able to make the beginning part of the meeting, but I had some great people that are
Right.
here in the audience right now that showed up to that meeting.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for. It's not just me. This is a group effort. That's
Right.
for sure.
Well, and let's just for a second. Personally, Michael, I'm sure, and Marlene, we have nothing against pickleball.
Not
No,
at all.
not at
Not
all.
at
Nothing
all.
against it at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
But green space is absolutely
important.
necessary
Yes.
for
Takes
the
up a- I mean-
survival of the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the
Okay,
whole
just
project that you're talking about
giving you a
isn't
little
just
seasoning.
the size of the courts. When you put in everything, you're talking at least 7,500 square feet,
Big.
not just
If-
the square footage.
Big
You're doing the bleachers, you're doing the with shades, you're doing
If they go full speed ahead with everything that was
Right.
mentioned, yes. Now, I don't even think that they project management thinks that can go into that space. But here's the problem with that argument. The problem is that just like they propose these things under the cover of Hurricane Irma recovery,
Right.
things like this affordable housing that's going into Port Largo, all of these things, they also are very quick to tell you we need to possibly look at amending the open space ratios that are in the park. As property owners, we have to keep an 80% open space ratio. So if you
Sure.
go to do anything in your house,
Why-
you've
what's
got to go through biology to
Good
make
for the goose. is
Right.
Good for
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah.
Well, parks, and especially this park, where when I start investigating this in the last 2 weeks, it was bought with a land trust agreement through the Florida Communities Trust. And all over that, they made the county, Monroe County back then, record this document that's back from the 1995 purchase. And it's to remind the county of where the funding came from
Right.
and to remind the county what was the purpose of the funding. And in the title of it, it says Florida Communities Trust Area of Critical State Concern Program, and it's the grant contract. And everywhere it talks about open space, it talks about conservation.
Right.
And this was the purpose of giving the state giving the county funds. It's not to put more stuff in it, it's to keep and protect the
Right.
open green space.
Yeah.
kind
have
of like
to
in
do
some
it.
of our things. It's a deed restriction.
It is a deed. And, here,
Totally.
and Michael,
yeah, same as when we have, in our homes that you have
Yes.
certain things.
Yeah. Yes,
Or if you're in a community or
absolutely.
something like that,
Right.
those are deed restrictions. And it's hard to see how legally they can deviate.
because here's the thing: every time you
Legally.
yeah,
There you
right.
go, yeah.
Great name.
Every time that you talk to someone this day in our ventures in the last 2 weeks, every time, well, I wasn't here, I wasn't part of it, and a lot of times people forget. And they need to be reminded, and I think that's where the community activism is important because we need to remind them to dust off those forms and look at these documents because they're there for a purpose.
I was
This-
only following
Yeah.
order.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
we know that routine.
And this is so great as a community member and somebody who has been doing research for the last 2 weeks.
Right.
This to me was like gold because they forced them to record this. It's not something that you record.
Right.
It's part of it, and you'll appreciate this, Michael, being in the real estate business that you are, and I am through
Right.
title. It basically says on the second page of this, if any of the covenants and restrictions of the grant contract are violated by the grantee or by some third party with knowledge of the grantee,
Right.
fee simple title to the property described in shall be conveyed back to the Board of Trustees of the Internal Improvement Fund of the State of Florida in accordance with the grant contract without further notice to the grantee, and they shall forfeit all right, title, and interest in and to the property described.
Oops.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
This is Key Largo Park, okay?
Right.
That is the green space.
Right.
Now, I remember when I said earlier that that conversation kind of leads to another conversation.
Right.
And the reason all of this is coming about now also is because of the conversation with affordable housing.
Right.
We found out as a fluke at
Right.
that at the Parks and Rec meeting on July 15th, as a fluke, we found out that there's 5 affordable housing units going into the property that I need everybody to keep this in perspective. If you know this area,
Right.
you have the Walgreens. Behind the Walgreens, there's the corner of Homestead, Atlantic, and St. Croix.
Right.
There is a parcel that's about 1.2 acres that's owned and was purchased in 2003.
Yeah.
Actually, 2004
Well,
was the
that's
beginning.
what was used for debris dump.
Right.
Yes,
You know,
it was the
after Irma.
staging area in
Yeah.
the Upper Keys for the
Right,
thing. It's
right.
the area that is used for the July 4th
Right.
parade to
Oh, yeah,
stage
right.
all of the
Yeah.
on the end all
It's
the
a
floats.
utility parcel.
Yeah, it's the truck from the county come
Right.
bring your stuff to your the things
Right.
you can't dump in the
Sure,
garbage stuff,
right.
the special stuff, recycling. It's that parcel.
Right.
And I just want to footnote at this point that
Please.
parcel. I hope nobody thinks that parcel goes all the way to the mini warehouses. It does not.
No.
There is a parcel between the mini warehouses and the county-owned parcel that we're talking about, and it goes from St. Croix to Homestead Avenue, and that's owned by Bank of America. So it's even a smaller parcel than what the eye sees. That's the
Right.
main reason I'm bringing this up.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. With that conversation about pickleball courts
Right.
comes the conversation of this parcel. Why? Because even at the Parks and Rec meeting, the pickleball president of the Association of the Pickleball People, whatever, he's there, and he says, we don't want them inside the park.
Oh.
We were always told and led to believe that they were going to go in that out parcel in the front.
Right.
At which point, then Kevin Wilson, the assistant county administrator, basically says, no, that parcel is going in for affordable housing is
housing.
going into that parcel.
boy.
But don't worry, because we've got you covered. We're putting these pickleball courts inside the green space. So we can't have one conversation without kind of touching on the other. And
We're going to eliminate the ability of natural rainfall to be absorbed into the ground. So we're going to keep it like,
Right.
pooling on
Right.
top of asphalt. That's better.
No, and now before the break, we started to talk about St. Croix.
Right.
Okay, and that was like overwhelming because
God, this is pissing me
the,
off.
the other part about this is that nobody knows that back in 2007, the county put in processes and it did a road abandonment for 183 feet of
Right.
St. Croix. Why is that a big deal? Here's why it's a big deal. If you go to this park, if you live in this neighborhood, and I got to tell you, we got to stop right now and really think about how many people, and you're a
Right.
realtor, you'll know this,
Right.
and you live in the Upper Keys as well. How many people are we talking about that this is actually going to impact? This is not just Port Largo.
No.
Remember, we have Key Largo Beach right,
Right.
next to it.
Right.
Right.
As you're going further south, you have
Yep.
Key Largo Ocean Shores,
Right.
Kawama,
Right.
Yep.
the Yacht Club.
Right.
You got all the people on the other side from Skippers. You've
Right.
got
Sure.
all of the pilot house. There,
Our Key Largo office.
You're talking a lot in that area that we're talking about with this abandonment of St. Croix.
Right.
Right.
Let's not also forget what happens to St. Croix when there's a lot of rain, consistent, and not
Lake
enough
St.
time.
Croix.
It becomes
Yeah.
Lake St. Croix. So
right.
now, what the community and everybody out there within this hearing area,
Right.
what you need to know is they've abandoned 183 feet. If you look at the plans for
Right.
this, what they're talking about doing is this is the lot.
Okay.
Now, this cutout is the abandonment.
Right.
And now, how they're fixing the problem is they're creating one-way drive that's going to be between the Bank of America parcel and the Key Largo Community Park out parcel.
Wow.
What's the problem with this? You're basically going to start sending people through a one-way drive that technically Homestead Avenue is an alley.
Right.
Homestead Avenue is the back of
Yeah.
all of Office Depot,
Right.
all
Yeah.
of that. That's not
No.
supposed to be
No.
a
It's not
road.
a real road.
It's not a real
It's
road.
a parking lot.
So if you shut this down and you reroute traffic, you're rerouting it to an alleyway. And then now what? You're going to send it all here where all of the people from all of these other subdivisions come out to get to US 1.
Right.
Okay? And let's not forget the third elephant in the room. On Friday, the 9th, at 5 o'clock, at the Key Largo Library is the hearing for the Largo Honda property.
Oh, yeah.
The Largo Honda property is up for proposal to have a 7-Eleven, 12 gas pumps, and 8 affordable housing units in that corner.
Wow.
So
Only 8?
8. And here's the thing. All of us should attend that hearing. There's a rumor going around that the property's up for sale. And
It is?
And
Oh, it is.
It is for sale.
Oh, yeah.
But what a coincidence. And I'm sorry, I'm going out on a limb here.
Hit
but
it.
I think it's a coincidence that it goes back up on the market the week that they're required to have a hearing.
Yeah.
So people might think, hey, it's off the table. I
Right.
don't think it's off the table.
No.
I think it's maybe to just give the illusion that this is not going to happen.
Right.
And I think waste your time. Show up.
Sure.
If there's a meeting going on, great that you
Right.
went. And if there's not, it took 10 minutes out of your
Sure.
way. So show up.
Why do we pay people to plan our cities and towns?
Great question.
And developments in the county when
You know-
this is the idea that they come up with?
Well, here's what I've uncovered, and I'm going to be very frank with you.
Okay.
Please.
Here's what I've uncovered in the last 2 weeks. I think we have great staff, but I think that they're
Absolutely.
being misled.
Right.
When I spoke with the person in charge of this pickleball project, he led me to believe that this was a done deal, that there was a lot of community support, that it had been advertised, that people have been very vocal.
Really?
And I basically asked him at that point to take 2 minutes and indulge me. Go to your computer. Do me a favor. Open up the Parks and Rec agenda item for July 15th and tell me where it was listed that
Right.
you were going to discuss this.
Yeah, I'd like
Right.
to know where
And
the
there was
advertising
silence.
was,
There was
too.
silence at that point,
Yeah.
which, it was supposed to be added, but it wasn't.
It wasn't. Oops.
So it's an oops. But there's too many oops.
Yeah.
Okay, too many oops. Here's another thing that I have a problem with,
Too many
and I
oops
was
adds
very.
up to a pile of bullshit.
I
Pardon
was.
me.
That's true.
Yeah, no.
It's true.
I was very vocal about this part in particular on Wednesday the 17th. Remember, Monday was Parks and
Right.
Rec.
Right.
Wednesday was the 17th, was BOCC and Marathon. When this happens on Monday, we spend all day Tuesday basically researching this matter.
Right.
And one of my people that's working very close to me on this basically uncovered that on November 20th of 2018
Okay.
at 2:13 p.m. at a regular BOCC general meeting in Key West,
I love
this
this.
parcel
Not too specific.
was added to the list. We're talking about
Parcel in Key Largo.
Key Largo.
Spoken
yes.
at Key West.
yes
In
yes.
Key West.
100 miles away. Yeah.
100 miles away.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it-
And anybody in the room at Key West go, I wonder if that parcel in Key Largo is significant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't really know.
Yeah.
They truthfully don't know anything about it.
Chances
And
that
if
were
you're
mourners at Manson's funeral.
here's the problem that we have to be very cautious. It's that the person or the commissioner that made this recommendation is our commissioner, Sylvia Murphy, District 5. Our representative was the one that made a motion, and she's been very public about this at the July 17th meeting that it was her idea to add this parcel. So I do put myself in the other commissioners' positions that you do rely on the representative
Sure.
to be the one to advocate for her district. And here she's recommending this, so it must be good for the district. Problem is that I don't think it's good. There's a lot of us that do not think that any of this is good for our area.
Probably the last thing that the Key Largo Community Park area needs is more traffic.
Yep.
Absolutely. And here, talking about that, I want to shift our attention really quick. We have a town hall meeting that we set up, okay?
Good.
And here's the thing. There's a town hall meeting that's coming up, and we're on Facebook at Save Our Green Space, KLCP.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And we already, in 48 hours, we have over 200 followers already
right.
and likes.
Yoo-hoo.
Okay. I want to encourage everyone who's in this range of hearing to come out to this site, to this meeting. It's going to be at the Key Largo Lions Club. Here's what's going to happen, and here's the next step for us as a community organization. It's a grassroots effort. So we're doing this. We're not structured. We're not, this is not what we do for a living.
Yeah.
We just know where our heart is.
Work in progress.
We know where our heart is and where our best intentions for our
Sure.
county, and we're just dealing with that. So
Right.
we've
Okay.
got this town hall going on. There's a petition that we're circulating that's going to come out tomorrow. We're launching the petition tomorrow.
Okay.
And it's a two-part petition, okay? The first one, in green paper, just so you
Yes.
know the difference. The first one is the Save Our Green Space petition. And
Right.
it basically what it says is that the project management department is planning to install 6 regulation and or competition pickleball courts inside the beautiful Key Largo Park, okay? This is the proposed site of 6 permanent pickleball courts would be in the green space located in the middle of the exercise pass on the southeast corner of the park, which is Atlantic Boulevard and Caribbean
Right.
Drive. Each of the courts measures 900 square feet. 6 of these courts would add a minimum of 5,400 square feet of impervious surface.
Minimum.
Minimum. That's just the courts.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
not any of the other
That's what I was saying.
stuff.
Realistically, 7,500. But you want to
Okay.
factor
Probably,
everything up.
yeah.
Impervious surface to the park in an area that is already prone to flooding. If this project moves forward, the county intends to use the courts for competition games to generate funds for the county. The county is also considering adding lighting, shade structures, and bleachers in the open space. The addition of the pickleball courts to the inside of the park will reduce the amount of open green space, will generate more noise pollution and more traffic in and out of the park, and increase the potential for flooding.
Anyone who wants to just back that up for a moment.
Right.
Impervious
Yes.
means asphalt.
Right.
Yes.
Can't grow.
Exactly.
And this is the whole
Root
funny
word is
thing. And
ass.
you know this
Pardon
with
me.
title and real estate.
Sure.
Is down here in the Keys, there's such an effort to curtail development,
lots.
to curtail,
Yes.
and be good to the environment. And here, again, nothing against pickleball.
No.
You're
No.
taking 7,500 square feet at the end of the day, plus or minus, to do more development.
Exactly.
So
Right.
it's
You know that they're
totally-
doing, it's ironic, right? Because,
Yeah.
Michael, you and I both know that they just
Right.
started this program where the county's buying property.
Exactly.
Oh,
to
yeah.
keep from
Yeah,
co-
to
development.
Right.
So it's
So it
where's
doesn't
the
make,
disconnect?
it doesn't compute.
It's supposed to go in a
Disconnect.
land
This is the
bank.
disconnect.
Yeah.
It's the money, as they said in JFK, follow the money.
Absolutely.
And that's where it is. It's a
Well,
follow
if we
the money
follow
type
the
of thing.
well, the good thing is there's a reverse side to follow the money. If we do follow the money, we go back to the Florida Communities
Right.
Trust, and they're not allowed to
Sure.
keep its open conservation.
Like what we
Right.
said,
Okay.
deed restriction.
Deed restrictions. Now
So
we
if
are
they,
in
and
the.
again, if they violate that deed restriction,
what?
That's it says there, page 2, that they basically their title reverts to the Board of Trustees of the Internal Improvement Fund.
I like you a lot.
So
You're okay.
again, we have to
Yeah.
shine light on it. What we do in this petition is we hereby object to Monroe County adding any more hard court sports, including but not limited. Remember, this is just round 1. I don't want to
Right.
be. Listen, I was a young and naive mom when I started this in '93.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 55. I think I'm 55 or 56.
Something around there. Is,
I forgot how old I am.
I know,
But
I hear
anyway,
you.
whatever. I'm in my 50s and I'm still having this argument.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep doing this in my
No.
80s,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
So what we're saying here is, not limited, not pickleball this time inside the green space, okay? And we object to Monroe County adding any more impervious surfaces inside the park.
Right.
Here's what you're going to notice on this petition and the next one following that we're going to talk about. There's an area in the bottom where we ask you to tell us, are you a property owner in Monroe County? Are you a registered voter in Monroe County? And are you a resident of any of these adjoining neighborhoods? The reason we want to know this is because our commissioner specifically was very fast to tell us that this is only us, Port Largo,
Right.
that really has a problem with this.
Not so much.
And everything that they've presented to us, and this is all at video, and this is all public record at the July 17th meeting,
Right.
that everything they've ever proposed for this out parcel, now we're talking about the parcel behind Walgreens,
Right.
we've always turned down.
All right.
The
Stop
okay.
for a second.
Sure.
Tell me when and where, again, the town
Town hall.
meeting is.
The town hall meeting is on August 20th, which is
Okay.
Tuesday,
Okay.
August
August
20th,
20th.
6 p.m. at the Lions Club.
Right there.
Right there. Hey, we can take everybody out and
Exactly.
show.
That's
Show 'em
a
the
great
land.
If
spot
you're
to
not
do it.
familiar with it, we'll
Great
take
spot
you
to do
out.
it at.
Show you the land,
Right.
show you where it's going to happen. You know?
Right.
And you know what? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to walk over there.
Oh, no, not at
Look
all.
at the park, see that great swath of green space.
This
that's
was
there
the
and go,
soccer field that was
Yeah.
left open
Well,
for the kids to run.
Right.
Yeah,
this
and
is-
it's also left open so that it will absorb
Yes,
the rainfall.
absolutely, absolutely. During Hurricane Irma, at the beginning of Hurricane Irma, my cousin, whose husband is one of the fire people, whatever,
Right.
stayed
Right.
behind, and one of the first things
was
she
here.
told me after I saw her is
Right.
that when the water came in from Irma,
Oh, yeah.
that park was
Flooded.
flooded.
Like I say, lake.
Completely. It was a lake.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
a lake. And that is the area that we're talking about putting hard surface.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. Because this conversation ties the pickleball courts ties into, okay, so they don't want him, the pickleball association doesn't want him inside the park, then logically they thought and were told that it was going to be outside the park. The only place for this many courts would be in that out parcel. For decades, we've been told and under the impression that out parcel was supposed to be additional parking
Right.
for that park, especially when they took the skateboard and put it in a
Yeah.
good chunk of the parking space. And here's the beauty of public records again. We were told on July 17th that we were never told that,
Oh, yeah.
that's not true.
Right.
And that park was never an extension of Key Largo Community Park. Well, I love the fact that all of it is public
Documented.
records, is documented. And I'm going to point to this other great document that I found that's dated November 19 of 2003. And this is why we have to be loud and advocate for
Yep, I'm
ourselves.
all about loud.
because everybody, and I'm saying peaceful too, because we
Yeah.
don't want to go on a fringe either. But we need to remind, again, people, what the intention of this was. And in that board meeting, it says that it was for the approval. This was when they were going to buy that out parcel.
Right.
Stu Marr, again,
Yep.
owned that out parcel.
Right.
He sold it to the county for $450,000, okay? And it says here that it's for the approval of a contract to purchase property as an addition to Key Largo Community Park. It goes on to say the property is proposed as an addition. Again, always a connection to Key
Right.
Largo Community Park for development with a skating facility. And the Florida Communities Trust could possibly reimburse a portion of the $450,000 purchase price. Why is that important? Because there is a connection.
Right. Of
It
course
was
there is.
supposed to be an extension to the park. There was a change at that point because of safety concerns
Under the
for the
guise
kids.
of community usage
Right.
to
Yes.
better the community.
And it
Period.
was intended to originally be a parking space, a parking lot, because I even went a step further and I found an expired building permit application that was already approved, but they never went through with it, to turn that lot into a parking lot. And it was supposed to be for overflow parking.
Right.
Servicing for the community park.
Just to give you a perspective, Raoul's Marina,
Right.
where they're putting in the new
Right,
park.
right.
Great. Yeah, great analogy.
Raoul's Marina, it's a passive park. It's basically, there's no funds for a lot of the stuff, so it's just passive
Right.
park
Yeah.
right now, with maybe the splash pad and the area over there for the
Right,
water.
right.
That parcel, with as passive as it is, has a proposed over 130 approximate parking spaces going into that park. Okay? Key Largo Community Park, our numbers with all that activity. You remember what's in there.
Yeah.
We've got Jacobs Aquatic Center, the
Oh, yeah.
pool.
Orange
We've
Bowl
got
stuff that- yeah,
we've
everything,
got
baseball,
the baseball. We've
tennis.
got tennis. We've got racquetball. We've got basketball.
A host
Yeah.
of
pickleball.
activities.
Everything.
Right.
And what we've got is 123 parking spots plus 9 handicap.
I think we're
for
getting the
all
short
of that.
end of the stick.
For
Right.
all of that.
For sure.
So going back to this permit that expired in 2004, they were supposed to put in 28,000 square feet of parking area. That's what we're proposing with the second petition that you've got. That yellow one, you can
Right.
show everybody the yellow
Yeah.
one. The
Hold
yellow
it up.
one
There
is
you go.
basically the additional parking petition. And what that says is that we're lacking adequate parking for the amount of activities currently taking place at the park. And the skate park addition contributed to the parking shortage.
Okay.
So, do we take a break?
We need to take another break here. And Michael's got some business to take care of too. But you know what? I think we've got about, Harry, what do you think, about 5 minutes on the other side of the break, and then you can do Michael?
Yeah.
Does that work? Okay.
I can wrap that up.
No, we're good.
No.
Trust me, we've got another program.
Yeah, exactly.
Here.
Okay.
There's
So
a lot of stuff
back.
to cover.
You're coming back. Folks, please stay with us for a couple of minutes. We're going to pay some bills. We'll be right back. This is the Florida Keys Real Estate Guys live on Radio A1A. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Be right back.
This is author Sammy Mays. May I recommend the Jake Sullivan series of novels by author Chip Bell?
He's Jake Sullivan and he's on the run. He's working for the president while basking in the sun.
If you enjoy reading, you need to read Chip Bell's latest novel, We Are the People Our Parents Warned Us About. Read and collect all 13 books in the Jake Sullivan series at chipbellauthor.com. The Jake Sullivan series has been awarded Mayor Gonzo May's 5 Parrots and a Palm Tree for literary excellence.
Topical crimes in tropical climes. Assassins right there on the beach. Like a secret agent.
Surprise! Great for a birthday, anniversary party, but a real estate transaction? That is not what you want. You don't want surprises when it comes to closing a real estate deal. The way to a smooth closing with no surprises is Sunshine Title of the Florida Keys. Call Ginny or Pam or even Irene. Hey, these 3 gals will take care of you. Close your transaction smoothly with no surprises. Real estate closings, 1031 exchange, escrow, all your needs are taken care of there with no surprises. It's Sunshine Title of the Florida Keys. Call 305-451-0032 or just Google up Sunshine Title of the Florida Keys.
I'm Maynard Edwards from Baltimore, Maryland, and whenever I'm on the road to the Florida Keys or I just want to feel like I'm in the Florida Keys, I listen to Trop Rock on Radio A1A at radioa1a.com.
Things. Tomorrow starts lobster season, so we're all really excited about that. Woohoo! So we're getting going. And you know what? If you've been coming down here for years and years to catch your lobster and spending a ton of money at the hotels, maybe it's time to buy your own home here. And exactly. I mean, makes sense. And that's funny enough. That's how a lot of my clients start. Is they've been coming down here, and they finally go, hey, wait, especially with interest rates, where they're at, doesn't it make sense to buy a home? And me being in real estate, obviously, that'd be my job. Yeah. So, wanted to show you a couple properties that we have that are awesome deals. They're going to go here. If you want something absolutely spectacular, we have our property on Overseas Highway. It is almost an acre on the bayfront with rare sandy beach. Exceptionally long dock. You couldn't even get a permit to do this type of dock again. It's got a seaplane dock as well, cheeky at the end. It's a main house plus a guest house, and just incredible. Hello, come down. See, even the camera's excited, going, "What the heck?" Whoa. So there's all this great stuff. It is, it's a substantial property. It's available for $3 million, now $499. So we had been at a different price. Right. We just took a $200,000 price reduction. So on the grand stage,
3.6 and change.
Yeah, almost 3.7. So now we're under 3.5. Nice. So to be able to get this type of property, which basically doesn't exist for the most part.
I got to have a place to dock my seaplane.
Exactly. So this is that type of property. Yeah. If you're looking for something maybe not so outrageous, we have a super property that we also just took a major price reduction on. This is in the White Marlen Beach subdivision here in Lower Matacumbe. Yeah. The homeowners park has its own sandy beach. This house has 70 feet on the water. It was just built. It has its CO, and it's got a guest quarters, separate entry that is legal. It's downstairs,
Nice.
but it's legal. A lot of times you'll run into these guest quarters, but they're not legal. This was built above flood.
Nice.
So you have a
Excellent.
guest quarters with full bathroom, bedroom, fridge,
9 yards.
the whole 9 yards downstairs, and then upstairs you had 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, gorgeous kitchen. Everything's new. CBS construction.
Beautiful.
It's also got impact windows and doors, metal roof, and here we're talking now at $1,148,000. So
a heck of a
in
price.
a premium area of Isla Mirada, White Marlin Beach, Lower Matacumbe. If you're thinking about where that is, that's mile marker 74 across from Sea Oats Beach. So
Right.
that's as you're driving down, you
Great
see that
spot.
beautiful open water. That's a property we have. We got a couple other things that we're working on that we'll probably have for next show. But there's great opportunities that exist, and when you do a little like research, like we're talking, educated minds are
Sure.
the best consumers.
There you
So
go.
give me a call. I'll be happy to get you whatever level you're thinking about. Investment property, first-time homeowners. There's a lot of great opportunities that exist here in the Keys. So give me a call at 305-439-7730. And I think we got some more stuff to talk about.
Very cool stuff. Yeah, absolutely, Michael. Thank you. Getting back to where we're at with pickle courts, pickleball.
Dill pickles.
Really, this land, and to capsulize, Marlene, this land was entrusted, shall we say, on purchase.
Absolutely.
To be used as green space, to be
Right.
used as something where it will absorb the moisture, comes out of the sky. It's called rain. When you live on coral, it's real important to pay attention to that stuff.
Sure.
And this whole area of the park, the whole southeast quadrant,
It is.
is green for that area. There's really minimal development in there. There's minimal asphalt,
Right.
minimal anything.
For a reason.
For a reason. So it absorbs the rain. It absorbs the water, and that park was underwater after Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely
even in
underwater.
heavy-duty rains,
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
underwater.
Yeah. So
and when you deal with stormwater calculations, everything counts.
Huge.
So they even
Huge.
count the walking paths,
Yeah.
anything, the pavilion, anything and everything has to be counted
Sure.
into that formula. What we don't want to see is a reduction in the formula,
You
an
can't
amendment
have it, yeah.
to the formula.
No.
There's a reason that formula
Yeah.
exists.
Right.
And so we don't want them to say, okay, we are at 90% right now, but if we want to add this, to reduce that number that they're bound
Then we're gonna
by
go to
Right.
80%
to
or
accommodate
something
these
like that.
additions.
Right.
We got to be very careful and keep our eye on the ball for
I
that.
agree.
Because
I-
that's
it-
not good for us.
What
Not at
still
all.
draws my attention and my ire a little bit is the fact that this was done at a Key West meeting.
Yeah.
Well, and
Not
it-
casting a cloak on Key West
No.
and just saying,
No.
we're 100 miles away.
Right.
It's one of the difficulties of governing in a piece of geography like
Sure.
this.
To clarify, just so the folks out there understand, what happened in researching all of this
Right.
is that we found out that on November 20th of 2018, at a time approximate of 2:13 in the afternoon, and again, this is all public record,
Right.
that what was on the agenda in Key West was to add a salary for a grant writer. Her name is
Right.
Hannah Eskra.
Right.
Right.
And it was like a penny or a dollar short of $50,000.
Right.
Hannah's job was to write 2 grants
Right.
for 2 land acquisitions, okay? And that was for a parcel down in Conkey and for a parcel down in Big Pine.
Right.
Right.
If the county were to receive those grants, Hannah's additional job would be to write 2 construction grants
Right.
to be able to build on those 2 parcels.
Right.
What happens at 2:13 in the afternoon in Key West is that our Commissioner, District 5, Sylvia Murphy, asked as a favor to the board to add a 3rd parcel, which is the Key Largo Atlantic Boulevard site, to Hannah's list of properties to write a grant for. The county already owns the parcel, so there's no acquisition component to
Right.
it. The component is the construction.
Sure.
Now, what I want to remind everyone is this was taking place down in Key West. Like Mark says, 100 miles
Right.
from where we're talking about.
Right.
Right.
Nobody knew. This was all under Hurricane Irma recovery.
Right.
And that's a problem. That's a red flag to me.
Sure.
Big time.
I'm not saying it's a violation of sunshine, but the policy from Monroe County has always been that they speak in regards to things within a relatively close area to that matter.
Right.
Well,
Being specifically, we were told by Commissioner Murphy on the 17th of
Right.
July that they could talk about Key Largo as far south as Marathon.
Right.
Not in Key West.
Right.
And it's disconcerting to me
Sure.
that nobody said we shouldn't be talking about a parcel.
Right. Why didn't someone raise a flag saying, "Oh, why
Nobody
are we doing
from
that?"
Key Largo here.
It's very,
so-
but here's the thing. What I've come to realize in the last 2 weeks is that things are moving so fast sometimes that people, and I see
Yeah.
your face. I see your face. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, that
Wouldn't
sometimes
get that from me.
that sometimes things move so fast that they don't realize,
Yeah.
and nobody stops.
Right.
Okay, and that was apparent even at the July 15th Parks and Rec
Sure.
meeting.
Right.
We're doing a lot of add-ons at meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we feel like we need to address certain things and there's a rush to get certain things addressed.
Right.
But what we can't sacrifice is the democratic process that we
course.
have in this country.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that is a red flag to me. We need to slow down. We cannot be adding
Right.
to the Parks and Rec an agenda talking about pickleball courts
Right.
or affordable housing without any advertising for people to know.
You're
Keyword
going to come back
transparency.
and talk
Yep.
to us again, right?
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you, dear. All right. Harry's throwing the red flag over there, which means I'm going to get a
hold my
penalty
sign.
pretty quick. Marlene Weeks, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank
And
appreciate
you
it.
will
all.
be back.
Just a
honest to
wealth
God.
of knowledge.
As soon as we can get you back, you're going to be back for this. Because
know it.
It's happening right now.
And
That's the problem.
If it
So,
happens there, it's going to happen here.
Yes,
And it happens
absolutely.
somewhere else. So that's
blow
why.
enough sunshine is what I always say,
Yeah.
right? Moving right along.
Yes.
That is
There's the out cue
concludes
music.
another edition of Florida Keys Real Estate Guys. My name is Mark Mills.
And I'm Mykael Marinelli of American Caribbean Real Estate, wishing you tropical vibes.
See you next week.
Sail right away, destination southern shores. Throw my cares upon a shelf, head on off for somewhere else, where the weather's always warm.